Think of the books you've read. Generally, what do the characters present as in terms of gender and sexuality? Usually they're heterosexual male or females, correct? Where are the other genders and where are the other sexualities? Where are the transgendered and the intersex characters? Where are the homosexual, bisexual, and asexual characters? The LGBT community is severely underrepresented in modern literature. However, we are taking steps to bridge that gap. The following books are all have main characters in the LGBT community, starting with Suicide Notes. You may think you're fine, but you're not. If you don't want to talk about it right now, that's your decision. You have 43 more days to talk about it. Do you have any more questions? All I could do was sit there for a minute or two, watching him watch me. What do you mean I have 43 more days? I asked him finally. You're in a 45-day program, he told me. You've been more or less awake for 2 days, counting today, which leaves you with 43 more to go. What kind of program? I said. To determine the cause of your distress and work on your healing process, he told me, like he was reading from a brochure. You'll participate in individual counseling sessions with me and in group counseling with some of the other patients. Other patients? I said. What other patients? Other young people, Cat Pooh told me. You'll meet some of them tomorrow. Why? I asked. Are we having a sing-along? In Suicide Notes, by Michael Thomas Ford, when 15-year-old Jeff wakes up in a psychiatric ward in a local hospital, he's incredulous. He didn't mean to do it. It was just a spur of the moment thing, a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Who really wants to kill themselves? He says he's totally sane. It's the other people that are supposed to be here, not him. He tries to tell Dr. Katsarapis this, or Cat Poop as he calls him in his head. But he finds out he's in a mandatory 45-day program and is unable to leave before that's up. The result is that he's stuck in there with 4 other crazies, real nut jobs, according to him. There's Alice, who burned her mom's boyfriend after he molested her. There's Juliet, who has delusions that she's dating one of the other teenagers there and that they're in a band together. There's Sadie, who tried to drown herself. And there's Bones, who no one really knows why he's in there. Others enter the scene as some of these people leave. Then one night, Jeff walks in on Rankin, a jock that enters the program later on, masturbating in the boys' showers. And from then, things go from bad to worse. The longer he's in the program, the longer he realizes that maybe these people aren't as crazy as he thought. Or maybe he's just as crazy as they are. In the dark comedy Suicide Notes by Michael Thomas Ford. Maybe you don't want to read a book about a gay guy as the main character. Maybe you want to read a book about a lesbian that isn't cheap erotica and the girl has relatable qualities. If this is the case, The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth may be right for you. Aside from a lesbian protagonist, it also has other characters in the LGBT community. Strong, willful lesbians, questioning girls, experimenting girls, questioning guys, homosexual guys, and even a Lakota Native American boy who is a Winky, or a Lakota third gender. The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily Danforth started with a dare. I bet you wouldn't try to kiss me, Cameron's best friend Irene said to her. Never one to back down from Irene's dares. Cameron does kiss her. What was supposed to be just an innocent kiss between two 12-year-olds turned into so much more, though. And they knew that in 1989 in a small town in Montana, they had to keep it hidden from others. The kisses were their little secret. However, when the next day Cameron's parents died in a car accident, Cameron tells herself that it's because of her and Irene's kisses. And Even though she feels guilty about it, she also feels relieved that they'll never find out about those kisses. As a result of her parents' death, though, Cameron decides to hide her sexuality. This works for a few years, but then she meets Lindsay and has a whirlwind summer with her. After Lindsay goes back home, she meets Coley Taylor. And Coley and her become friends, but Cameron wants to be more. She's left pining after Coley for about a year, but then her Aunt Ruth, who has been taking care of her since her parents died, finds out she's a lesbian. Ruth cannot have that, and her solution is to send Cameron to God's Promise, which is a boarding school and a camp for people with homosexual tendencies to go to be straightened out and put on the quote-unquote correct path. They do this through scripture, prayer, meditation, and one-on-one and group counseling multiple times during the day. Will Cameron succumb to God's Promises work, or will she stay true to herself? Find out in The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. If any of these sound good to you, perhaps you would be interested in Rethinking Normal by Katie Rainhill. This book is about a transgender person, a boy who transitioned into a girl. This one has a different point of view than the others because not only is it about a transgender person, it's also non-fiction, or it's a memoir of this girl's life. In Rethinking Normal by Katie Rainhill seems to have it all. She's beautiful, incredibly smart, and more outgoing and outspoken by the day. If you didn't know her, you would think she was just a quote-unquote normal teenage girl. But those people haven't seen the Tulsa World articles or seen the Inside Edition segments that were broadcast about Katie. They show that she is so much more than just a normal girl. Katie is transgendered. In fact, she was the first openly transgendered student to graduate high school in Oklahoma. Follow her story from little boy Luke through the trials and tribulations she endured, such as depression, suicide attempts, and bullying, into her path of becoming the bright, happy Katie Rainhill in Rethinking Normal. As I said before, the LGBT community is severely underrepresented in modern literature. However, we're taking steps to bridge that gap. These are just a few of those steps. There are several others that haven't been mentioned. I urge you to check out these books to find a different point of view than a heterosexual male or female, and contact me if you're interested in finding out more about LGBT-friendly books.